Okay, everyone? Hello? We're going to reconvene in just a moment. Karen has an announcement, though, pertaining to the building.
Kind of an announcement. First of all, we want to thank the Bishop Mabee of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Sunburst Ward, for allowing us to have the meeting tonight. We thought we might have a bigger turnout, and so we thought that perhaps we needed more space. We'll see whether we did actually or not. But I didn't know at the time, because I do attend church here, I didn't know at the time when we asked to use the building that they were going to have to air condition the whole. It's become so hot that they've had to air condition the whole building for us, and they've done it for us at no charge. So we didn't have to go to the church, the school, and do that. One of the caveats was that we uphold the standards of the church, which is no alcohol, no smoking, and please no profanity. They asked if we ever if we had any problems. I said, we just never disagree with anything. It's always just sweetness and light. But we can disagree, I'm sure, without being disagreeable. And if we ever have to use it again, I'm sure we'll be able to. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we are, I need a motion to reconvene
Motion to reconvene
in open session.
open session. They're going.
I second.
All in favor, aye. And the time is 7:05. All right. What we're going to do right now is a little different than normal. We want to do a call to the public, but we want to split it into two sections. We have our attorney here who is willing to discuss some of the issues with us, and we thought if we had the call to the public be for those who have questions about the county letter.
We don't want to have the call to the public asking about bridle paths or water
Right.
issues or stuff.
So those we'll do as the second part of the call to the public.
We'll do those after.
Right, so we'll do the
They
call
want to
to...
get me out of here, so
He wants to go home. So do we, okay, thank you. So what I'll do is call names, and if it's about the county letter, go. If it's about something else, wait, okay? That fair?
Did we already sign up for call the public?
She's got it, did you? You want to sign up? Okay. Okay. Okay, the first is Scott Olson. Okay.
Yvonne.
Yvonne?
Yeah, I kind of had a little bit on both. As far as the county letter, I just wanted to say that it's important that we realize that we need to pull together on this. And the more discord and everything we show to the county and the state, the more trouble we're going to be in. So it's really important that we not just sit here and pick each other apart or go to the county, go to the state, create issues, because that's how we're going to be in a mess. We're going to end up without an irrigation district altogether. And I think the main reason we're here and living in farming is because we want the irrigation, we want the green area. You know, and that's my big deal. We need to try to figure out how to get along, put some issues forward, and not take it to a higher authority and then cause more issues than we had today.
Thank you, Yvonne. Walt?
Okay, I have basically mine on the letter. And first of all, 3 minutes is a very short time to speak what's all on my mind. Because I think most of you know me. I'm an old Iowa boy, and I was raised on the farm. I know about agriculture, okay? In fact, I raise agriculture, but I don't do it for profit. So I'm not considered agricultural. Okay, I feel that the real matter of this letter is noted in the agenda on items B, old business B and new business A is nothing more than an attempt to delay or avoid a recall election. That's my thoughts on it.
Okay.
Those are my thoughts, okay? The two cases, in the two court cases, had to do with either recall elections or elections of board members. Okay. To continue with this matter could result in the destruction of this irrigation district. And now remember that I am an accountant and I work as a corporate controller for years, okay? And I believe that if we continue in the manner which we're going right now with all this legal issues and so on and so forth about this election, that this could cause the destruction of this irrigation district. This would cost the economy in the area, not just the farm, but the farms and the surrounding area, a possible 10% to 12% of the value of our properties, which is about $50 million. Now, each one of you think about that when you divide it by acres. That means that you're going to be taking around a $50,000 loss on your property. Okay. As a circumstance, under these circumstances, I believe that the board, after the call to the public, should take a few minute break for a current board member to write a letter of resignation and allow the rest of the board to get on with the business of managing this district as it has been operating for the past 30 years. Not only that, I've been here for 47 years. And I know a little bit more about this. And Kay consistently talks about Western Meadows. Let me give you a little history on Western Meadows. Western Meadows was developed by a landowner called Bob. Well, they called him Bob. It was really Robert.
We need to hurry.
Yeah, you're going to kick me off. I know. You always do. That's why I said there was time now. By Robert Morrow. There's a street named out here after that. He lived over here on 19th Avenue and Greenway Road. He is the husband of my wife's cousin. He was the one that made out the corporation papers when Western Meadows became a water and agricultural company. In 1967, the year before we did, they converted to an irrigation district. The county does collect their taxes for them, but they collect it on a true acre basis rather than a commercial acre basis. We get ours on a commercial acre basis. A commercial acre is only 86%, or a true acre is only 86% of a commercial acre. And when we had that problem with the county here a few years ago where they set it down to collect, the county only collected about 90%, or a little less than 90% of those taxes for it. And I was involved in that because I was the accountant for those 9 years when all that crap went on. Okay? And I think that we ought to move on and become the irrigation district that we were established for in 1978, not 1967, because that was a corporation, an Arizona corporation. And we ought to get back to doing our own voting rights that we have done for 30 years, and we ought to get this county out of the damn thing. We took the option of running this district as a municipality with their own voting rights, the same as what the city of Phoenix took over, or the county, we took over our voting rights the same as the city of Phoenix or other municipalities do the same thing. We do have our own election rosters. Okay? We maintain our own election rosters. The only mistake that was made, and it was not a real true mistake because it still had to go to the county board of supervisors, but the recall petition was turned in to the county board of supervisors before it was given to the district. Now, I understand that the county board of supervisors notified us of that election, and that it was supposed to be held about the 15th of May.
Right.
But we only had one board member at that time. That board member dropped the ball and did not do the call of election because the call of election has to be done 120 days before the election can be held. Well, the 15th is way past that now. We can't possibly do it. So in my estimation, this is just exactly what it says. It's nothing more than a delay of the recall election or the fact that they don't want us to be voting. Now, when my property rights comes up, I know people in the farms here that have up to 20 citrus trees in their property. I had 12 on mine. But I'm not allowed to sell any of it. So you know what I do with it? Because I can't be agricultural in the city of Phoenix. And I live in the city of Phoenix. So, what do I do with it? I give it to my relatives, my other family that lives here in the farms, and I have children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren that all live here in the farms. Plus, several cousins that live here in the farms. We know a little bit more about this than what you guys think we know. Now, the thing is that I can't sell that. I give it to them. Whatever I have left, I donate every bit of it to charity. To the St. Vincent de Paul, the Refugees Program, the Andre House downtown, and the Goodwill, and all of those people, they get the rest of my fruit. Now, this past year, I lost one apple tree and almost lost 50% of my orange trees. Because of the fact that the poor management of this country and that 39th Avenue pump did not get me water. And this board has been operating for the last few years without any specifications on jobs or anything else. When we did the 39th Avenue pump, I wrote a public document requesting the specifications on that pump. You know what I got back? Well, we don't have it. So what did the water company up in Prescott up there, you know what they sent me? The internet printout, which is available to everybody. Now, one other thing, and this is not on this here deal, but it still has to do with the management of this district, is that
Hey, Walt, can you try to keep stuff, though? Let's try to, while we have the attorney here at a few $100s an hour, I imagine, let's try to say things that, we'll come back to you. We said we go, but let's try to keep things that pertain to...
it's limited to 3 minutes, and I've been told, and it's in your minutes, your meetings, that I am not, as a homeowner, supposed to talk to other homeowners about the irrigation system. That is a violation of my constitutional rights, my First Amendment rights, and you better get down those minutes, because you approved those minutes onto it. Okay?
Thank
I
you.
will talk to any homeowner I want to talk to in this farm.
I'm not telling you you can't, it's just in these meetings we address the board. Jesse Connor.
Is that enough now?
Jesse?
I mean, I was gonna wait, but I'll ask, what's his take on the letter?
Okay, he'll be talking about that.
Quickest way, if he just gives us his take on the letter, and that way he gets to be on this way.
Okay, all right, thank you. Eldon? Is Eldon here?
Eldon's back there.
My
Oh.
question was, why did you call the meeting with Clint Hickman, you and Karen Mills, and
Okay.
not the other two board members?
Okay. Thank you for your question.
You had no right to do that,
Okay, maybe our attorney can address that.
okay?
Okay?
It should have been done by the 3 board members at a meeting,
Okay. Anything else?
not on this.
Okay, Victor.
Yeah, I do have specific questions on the Hancock versus Beisner case. In the footnotes, it says the contestants, this is the one where, for those who don't know, I'm sure you do know about it, but there was a recall election, they were challenged, and the people who were recalled because they were not agricultural landowners. But in the footnote number 1, it says the contestants challenged only the contestants, so they were the contestants in the lawsuit, the ones that were filing the recall against the electees. Okay, so the contestants challenged only the qualification of the electees and did not challenge the ballots of the approximately 550 other non-agricultural landowners who voted in the recall election. Nor had any challenge been raised to signatures of non-agricultural landowners on the recall petitions. And my question is, the qualifications to cast a ballot and the qualifications to be on the board are exactly the same. There's absolutely no difference. That's a qualified elector. You have to be a qualified elector to cast a ballot, and you have to be a qualified elector to sit on the board. So I guess the question is, aren't they talking out of both sides of their mouth?
It's a qualification of the scope of the opinion is all. They just said they haven't examined whether the 550 people who voted were qualified to vote. That's what that footnote was intended to do.
But earlier in the case, it cites that there was only 4 agricultural landowners.
Yeah.
So by proxy, they're saying that all those 550
Yeah,
others
they just.
were not qualified.
But they were just trying to, courts do it all the time, limit the scope of their opinion to the specific facts that they were examining. That's all that they were trying to do. We're-
That's the same
It-
case
it-
here, isn't it? Same case. Same
Is this
thing
my-
as
is my
here.
time?
It depends on the scope of the-
I think at this point, if you're asking him, if your question is done, then he needs to address the group.
Well, I was just going to
Unless
ask
you
a
have one.
follow-up question. And you're saying that this is to limit their scope of opinion. Wouldn't it be argument to broaden the scope of their opinion to maybe, rather than taking, earlier they said the intent of the irrigation laws back in I think they're late 1800s or early 1900s. But the intent may be different in today's environment. So that's what I'm saying. Maybe they're choosing to limit it, but maybe is there an option for us to encourage them to broaden it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other call to the public, or before I?
Did you have something quick, Eldon?
The question that I had would be to the attorney. Now,
Right.
was it
He's going to
legal-
address it.
Was it legal for her to call a meeting outside of
Right.
a regular board meeting?
Let him take over now. We'll turn the meeting over to him, and he will address the questions that have been asked in whatever sequence he chooses. Thanks, Bill.
Good evening, all. Name is Bill Sullivan. Been an attorney here since 1979. Worked primarily on water and irrigation districts, sanitary districts, and that type of work, as well as some utility work. So, been doing this for quite a while. The issue has been brought up about whether the persons who brought the petitions to the county were eligible voters. So that's what they looked at, and that's the only issue that they've looked at. Just like the court was trying to limit what they did, and the county has created its own definition of what an eligible voter is by looking at the county assessor's properties and whether they're classified as agriculture. You know, people can decide to challenge that or not challenge that. It's really not the district's position one way or the other on that, because that has to do with what the petitioners have done and whether their petition is going to be processed any further. Okay, but it did raise a legitimate concern to the board members, which is, do we have an issue with how we've been conducting elections and who's been deemed to be eligible to vote? Because everybody's been allowed to vote, and regardless of the nature of whether they had any agricultural aspect to their property or not. And so what I've been discussing with the board is what options might they have to go forward. The board has generally expressed in a very general way to me that they would like to keep this running as close to what it's been running for years as possible. They don't want to see any drastic changes. They want to try, one option is to see if you can reformat in a different way so that issue of agriculture isn't an issue. There's some different types of organizations, but that would be a lengthy process. May or may not solve your problems, may not get you where you want to be. Another issue is try to get the legislature to change the law so you correct it. Well, the legislature did change the law right after that second opinion. And the way they changed the law was to say that districts in Maricopa County and other large metropolitan areas have the option of converting to an acreage form of voting, where it's based upon how many acres you own. And if you do that, and you choose to do that, the board chooses to do that, then everybody is eligible. Again, gets rid of the issue of is it agricultural or not. But what you might find to be not pleasant is the fact that it does change the nature of, it's not one person, one vote. It's either 1 acre, 1 vote, or 1/5 of an acre, 1 vote. In other words, if you own an acre, and it would be worth up to 5 votes. And if you own 2 acres, it'd be up to 10 votes. because that's the way the legislature has adopted it. But what it does is if you take that option, is everybody is still eligible to vote. And so you don't have to, the other option is to contest what the county has done and try to show what acreage there is that would fall into the agricultural definition. If you do that, pretty certain that not everybody's going to meet that definition. Not everybody's going to be able to be other than just a residential home that has an agricultural component, no matter how broadly the board tried to do it, where it would pass muster with a court. And so that option, although it's an option, is one that would deprive more people of the vote, but than doing the acreage. So the board hasn't decided. I mean, obviously they've got it on here to discuss different options, discuss different ways to define agriculture, different ways to look at acreage voting as an option. I think the simplest solution is simply to have the board elect to go to an acreage, because that eliminates the issue totally as far as whether you are eligible because of an agricultural aspect to the community as a whole and to individual voters. And so that's where I think the cleanest, simplest way to move, because that's what the legislature decided to do after the second case came down. That second case, a lot of good arguments were made about, one, the original case read the statute wrong, which they're not supposed to do. They read something into the statute that wasn't there. And the court said, you make a good point, but the legislature hasn't done anything, and it's been 70 years since we made this decision. We're not going to change it. Okay? So the legislature did change it, but only not to change the whole concept of agriculture and some obligation, unless the board chooses to go to the acreage form of voting, and then it disappears. So that's what the legislature did. If you were to go to the legislature and try to broaden or get a different remedy, to eliminate the agricultural aspect of it, which of course you could do, the problem with that is there's a lot of agricultural entities that are true agricultural districts that aren't going to want to give up that right, and they won't want to convert to that. So, and it's been my experience that it's a lot easier to kill new legislation than it is to pass laws. And so if you have any strong district against you, there's a good chance you would never get it passed. So you'd be spending a lot of money trying to do something, and during that whole time, you haven't remedied it. You're waiting for the legislature to act. And so, again, there is a legislative solution. There's a definitional solution. Those are the two things that are the easiest, either one, to try to deal with. The definitional is less certain than the acreage solution. So as to the issue as to why is a board member authorized to go and talk and meet with County Board of Supervisors? Certainly she is authorized to do that. She's president of the board. In fact, she was doing it at my suggestion because I felt it was critical that someone talk to those who are decision makers so that they had a general idea of what was going on, and they wouldn't be making the decision based upon information that they were getting solely from their staff who aren't as familiar. And so that she could also get some input as to what the county might or might not be looking at doing it immediately. But what you didn't want to have happen is to have the county just do something that you couldn't easily deal with. And if they brought something to the County Board of Supervisors and took an action that said, that acted affirmatively based upon those two decisions, that no, there aren't any qualified electors or something like that, make it much more difficult to go forward. So the whole purpose of meeting with them was just to have an informational, two-way conversation, not, to make sure that the two representatives that represent this district had had firsthand knowledge of what the issue was, and that the board was taking action to try to address it and would continue to do so. And that was the purpose of it. It was done at my suggestion. So.
Is that conflict of interest that do you represent this lady here?
I represent the board. I made that I made that recommendation on behalf of the district because I felt that that was the best way for the district to, because you can't, one.
Three of them? What about all three?
No, then it would have to be an open meeting. Then it would have to be, you'd have to invite them. They may not, they're less willing to come and discuss those things in this type of forum than going to their office and on a one-on-one. You can get that meeting in a week where it would probably take you 3 months.
If I went one-on-one, just like I could, just like she did, I could tell a completely different story. So you're getting only one side of the story, and that's not fair.
Well,
It's not justice. It's not justice.
You're allowed to schedule a meeting with them.
Yeah, there's nothing that precludes you from doing that.
On the recommendation of the entire board, on the entire district of all of us, you're recommending for her to go.
I recommended that one person of the board, I didn't say which one, but she's the president, she's the head of the board. And so that is the person who would normally go.
Well, the board of
but I just
supervisors
suggested that a member of the board go and talk with the county. But I have no problem that the president was the one who did that. I think that's an appropriate way to deal with it. But you know, that's just what my advice was.
Quick question on the acreage. Isn't that how we've been voting already?
No, you've been voting one person, one vote. No, whether it didn't matter how many acres you own, you got one vote.
Actually, it's one parcel.
One,
vote.
okay.
Yeah, one parcel.
One property, one vote.
Okay.
So the only difference would be if we went to the acreage, a person who had 2 acres would have 2 votes.
Well, except that you wouldn't also have to qualify to be you wouldn't have to be an agricultural. The problem is the way you have been doing it without looking at whether all those people have an agricultural aspect to their property has been, the county has said that's not the way you should be doing it. And so if you look and try to really define what agriculture is, you would most likely end up with less votes than you would. You may not get any vote.
We're going the agricultural route, but if we go the acreage route, we eliminate the agricultural problem.
Well, it's personal or
Yeah,
or
I mean,
acreage.
you can't go acreage and have one person, one vote. It's acreage, and so you get a vote per the amount of land that you have. And it's either based upon full acres, which I understand would be a problem because most of you have commercial acres, a lot of you have commercial acres, or it's a fractional, which is up to 5 votes per acre. So if you do that, then as my understanding, that everybody that is currently in the district would still be an eligible voter. Yes, technically, some people would have a greater weighted vote if they all showed up versus other people. But my understanding is that there's actually more 1-acre parcels than there are 2-acre parcels. So whether on the whole it makes a big difference. Yeah.
Only 40 people show up.
Come up
What?
that it's an unequal balance.
No. Well, there was a case that went up to the United States Supreme Court many years ago that involved Salt River Project, and because they were claiming it wasn't one man, one vote, it was an acreage type of situation, and the United States Supreme Court upheld that. They said because of the nature of the district that they had the right to have a different voting system. So that's and again, what we're looking at is what options has the legislature given you? I mean, so the legislature hasn't given you an option where you can, where agricultural definition has no play, and you get one person, one vote. You either get one person, one vote, and have to deal with the agricultural aspect, or you go acreage, and then you don't have to do it. So we're trying to live within the scope that somebody else has divided.
Hold on, Karen was first, I think.
Are you confident that acreage voting, such as you're describing will satisfy the county attorney? We're talking about the county supervisors and the county attorney. Are you satisfied that that would satisfy her?
I haven't talked to the county attorney. I haven't talked to the county to try to deal with it. I'm trying to get you to decide how you want to deal with it. Get your ducks in a row, and then let them deal with the issue, and lay it out as affirmatively as I can. Once you've decided how you want to go forward. People tend to, if you don't have a solution for them that you've already taken, they're more likely to say no than to say, well, maybe I don't really agree with you, but I can see where you're coming from, and I'm not going to do anything about it. So, it's...
There's been no discussion with that.
I have not had any discussion, and that's intentional, because there's nothing for them to resolve at this point as far as the district's concerned. You've got an issue, and I think it's the district needs to decide how it wants to proceed before we make them more aware and more involved than they have been in the past. I agree with the earlier comment, is that the more you go to the county and make it an issue for them, the more likely you're not going to get a result you don't like. The more that you resolve it yourself and come to them with this is how we as a group have decided to resolve this issue, and we support that resolution. Not necessarily you agree on everything, but you agree on that resolution, they're much more likely to support you than if they feel that there isn't a unified voice or a majority.
Have you been made
Wait.
aware of our current voting rules and regulations
Yes.
with regard to 1 acre, or well, I should say 1 parcel, 1 vote only? Because we used to have what we call a half vote. Because my wife and me are both landowners, but only one of us gets to vote, not 2 of us. And they used to have it that 2 people could vote.
Yeah.
So I think you better look very carefully at our voting rules
Well,
and regulations first.
We're going forward. We've got a different issue that we need to address. And I'm telling you that you have 2 options under the current statute to deal with that issue. And you can ignore it and try to go the way you've been doing, and somebody else may raise that issue and you're going to have to deal with it, or you can try to resolve it today. And my suggestion is you try to resolve it today before it's a bigger problem than it is already. And that's just, you want to be proactive to the extent you can. I'm not going to go, it doesn't really matter what you did 20 years ago or even 5 years ago or the last election. Those elections are over with, and what we're trying to do is make sure in going forward we address the issue that's been raised by the county, and that you can move forward in a way that benefits all of you to the maximum extent possible. That's the goal.
You're second, you're first.
Is there
Jeremy, you're second.
a sheet, a list from the county saying what is considered agricultural?
No. What they did, according to their letter, is they went to the county assessor's records and looked to see if there was any property in the district that was designated as an agricultural property. Well, the county assessor does have a definition, and you have to, I think, have at least 2 acres. I think it might be 5. I don't think anybody would qualify even if you tried, but nobody is classified, for one thing. And now that you're in a city, your classification is based upon what the city's zonings are, not necessarily what the county zonings are. So I don't think that was necessary. There's certainly nothing in the court cases that said what the assessor classifies as agricultural land is the bottom line. It's an open question, in my opinion. It definitely said, well, if you're a blacksmith, that you don't qualify. If that's all you do is you're a blacksmith, a commercial, or if you're just a single residence, that's all you do. That those things were excluded. They said that, really looking for multiple acreage and crops. They're talking a lot about crops, but I don't think it's exclusive. I think it gives you some room to play and define if that's the way you want to go as a district. I think it is less certain than going the acreage, because the acreage clearly eliminates that issue. So that's,
But it creates more.
Wait, Jeremy, you're next.
So we're discussing voting, or a system of voting, but then who gets to vote on the system of voting?
this would, the legislature allows the board of directors to make that determination.
No, I meant as far as the homeowner, so everybody here, we're gonna vote on something, we're gonna vote on a voting system.
No, the board, the board can't, there's two ways to deal with switching to an acreage. Everybody that's an eligible voter, which creates a whole issue as to who's eligible and who isn't, if you get a majority of those to sign a petition that asks to convert, then the board has to convert, or the board on its own can convert. So it doesn't have,
Hold on.
those are two ways you can do it.
I know you had your hand up earlier, so
Yeah,
just a second, I'll get you guys.
most of Title 48, Chapter 19, when it references procedures for doing things, it does it as a percentage of the property. It's not geared toward acreage, descriptively. It's geared toward the personal and individual. So how does that convert over to agriculture? Like, just pulling one out of the sky, dissolution of the district. That's specifically identified in there. But it doesn't say a percentage of the acreage. It says a percentage of the property owners.
Well, it's, I'd have to look at that particular statute. I didn't look at dissolution, so I don't know the exact language. It could be a percentage of the eligible voters. It could be the eligible voters who represent a majority of the land. I'd have to look at how it's worded. Their statutes
But if the vote is on a per acre basis, then it would have to revert to the, everything would have to revert to acreage. I would think there would be.
No. I mean, it depends on what the statute says. I mean, it may in some instances and it may not in others. And again, each statute has to be looked at on its own and dealt with. And again, what we're looking at here is not something that the district or even the county raised it, but it didn't create the issue. The issue was created many years ago by an interpretation by the Supreme Court. It just hasn't been applied to you for and how you dealt with it till recently. And there was an attempt to overturn that old decision more recently in 2006, and the court declined to do so. But as I say, as a result of that, the legislature did act and created the option for acreage voting without any consideration of agricultural nature. So that's what the legislature did.
If there's just one thing real quick.
Okay.
I mean, you're saying we could resolve it tonight. I would be
It's not on the agenda tonight.
Okay,
so.
good. Because I would certainly want to know that in the opinion of this deputy county attorney, is she going to be happy with a decision of going to an acreage system of voting?
Well,
I don't think that'd be the end of the world. It's just you have two lots, you're going to have two votes, or however the percentage is decided.
Well, and again, whether you really want to try to convince the county to make a decision that for your own benefit, you have to decide. But I don't think you want to make your decision based upon what the county attorney decides. I think you want to position yourself so if she doesn't agree with you, that if you choose to go to court and argue it, you're in the strongest position that you can be to have a court uphold your position.
So in other words, don't ask their permission to go to the acreage. Go to the acreage and say, this is how we resolve this issue.
That's my suggestion.
We still have to have it approved.
What?
If we do go to that or change it, we still have to have it approved.
No, well, what approved? No.
Approved of the system that we were going to be using that it is.
No, well, there's no county approval of it. I mean, if you ask the county to do something that requires them to look at eligible voters, they have to agree that you've changed the system and deal with it. If that's, there's only a few things that they have that they get involved in at all in the district, and because they don't certify your elections. I mean, they don't handle most of your elections and most of your day-to-day work. There are a few things that they do. One of them is recall elections, and if that is something that people are going to continue to do, then the issue will continue to be in front of the county. That's and so we will try to convince them that we have changed the system and everybody's eligible, I don't know where they're going to go on that, but that's, all we can do is that is a system that we know that the legislature and the statute says everybody's eligible to vote.
Until I got you a drink of water.
Oh.
in case you-
Thank you very
And
much.
Justin, your question is next.
If the district
And
switches to
Jesse, you're next.
voting, will that affect our taxes in any way?
No.
Can you say the question again? I couldn't hear.
Will it affect your taxes in any way?
Oh, okay.
Taxes?
Well, my understanding is the district does not assess, doesn't tax you. You get an assessment
But I mean,
from
the
the
county,
district.
will the county tax us differently?
No.
We're assessed as residential.
No, that's fine, I just wanted to.
Peggy, you'll be third. Jesse's next. Hold on.
I have a question.
Oh, okay, okay. Peggy,
Just a question, if we go to the acreage, are we still a municipal corporation and are we still under 4819?
Yes, this is to, as I said, goal is to keep you as much to what you've been historically. This is not changing anything. This is within the Title 19, or the section, Chapter 19 of Title 48. And you would still be an irrigation district, and you'd be operating as an irrigation district. It's just who's eligible to vote and how you vote would change.
okay. Oh, okay. Actually, Yvonne had her hand up a little, but I'll get you next.
I
Okay?
can keep talking with it. Just to though kind of title it Peggy was saying, then do we really, if we do like that, then you don't really have to go to them and tell them that we're switching really.
Until you present a question to them that they have to determine for their own purposes who's eligible and who isn't. That's what brought this up, as I understand it. And again, wasn't anything. Was that they were asked to certify eligible voters on a petition, for a recall petition, and it raised the issue to them, and so.
So this would have never come up?
It would never have come up.
Except for someone's under recall right now. Strange. What coincidence?
Well, actually, they have not been able to take action on that. So if someone still wants to present that, you're going to raise it again, or and apparently it can't.
Again, I would think that what would happen is once you switch to the acreage system, if that's what the board chooses to do, or the option is for everybody to petition, but I think it's much easier if the board does it, then anybody who wanted to bring a petition would recirculate it and move it at that point and say, we're doing it under an acreage basis.
Okay, wait.
I really didn't get my question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I heard that.
Okay, sorry. You're next.
So can the petition be withdrawn?
Yeah.
Or is what?
He's the only one I was told that can withdraw it. The person who submitted it.
But it could be withdrawn?
That necessarily wouldn't fix it, though.
Well, it wouldn't fix it.
No, it won't fix it.
It would remove the question that's currently
Right.
presented, cause the letter to be written. So that's one option. Right now, as I understand it, the county has made a determination that they're not going to take any further action on that petition, that's how I read that letter. And again, I haven't talked to the county specifically to confirm that, but the way I read that letter is whatever's been presented before them, they don't mention the recall petition, but that's what I understand is before them. They don't intend to take any further action because of what they have determined, that there aren't any eligible voters in the district.
Hang
How long would it
on.
take the process?
You're next. You're next.
We'll have to, how long would the process take if they do decide?
If the board wants to go to an acreage, they can put it on an open meeting and debate it and pass it, and it's done
Okay.
by
Right there.
resolution.
Well, who started this?
I'm sorry?
To begin with, who started this problem to begin with?
The county?
Who started the problem? I think he's explained that because of the petition, they looked at all of
Who filed the petition?
a homeowner.
Yeah, but whoever is the complainant, if they resign, will this problem go away? No.
They're not.
No.
It's a homeowner. It's not anybody on the board. There's nobody.
Because she resigned, and then the old city resigned.
Actually, what happened, I did say I was going to resign, and then I checked with the county when I got back from vacation, and they said, did you resign in a meeting? And I said, no, it was after a meeting. They said, did you do it in writing? And I said, no.
Okay, wait, yeah, well, this is beyond the scope of the
Right.
open a meeting, and
Right.
so.
Get in trouble for lying.
Beyond the scope of an open meeting. Okay, just take
But-
control.
Yeah, I'm on your side, trust me.
Yeah.
Okay, are there any other,
Yeah, I have a question.
Brenda?
Mr. Sullivan, we have actually had recall elections before in the past. So I'm just wondering why that was never a problem.
Different attorney looked at it, that's all.
Yeah.
It has nothing,
We handle our own election.
She's, yeah, and then him.
The petitions were turned into us, and our election group took care of it. It never went to the county except for the date of the election, because the county had to tell us whether we could have the election or not have it. That's all they had to approve.
Okay, we have a question here.
I have a question. Just, you say that the board is the only one that can make this decision?
No,
Is this registered anywhere in the CCNRs and the bylaws that we all sign? Like how that works? Because I think to change the CCNR and bylaws, you need at least 75% of the membership.
Yeah, we do.
to
Yeah,
agree.
CCNRs, but no bylaws.
Is that not?
well, I mean, we're dealing with a statutorily created entity and the statutes relating to how it functions. And so it's governed by the statute. It overrides any inconsistent CCNR.
So any contract that we sign when we purchase these properties is null and void then?
No, those are still in effect.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying, well, again, I'd have to look at a specific issue that you're talking about in a CCNR to see if there's a conflict. If there's a conflict, the statute would govern. And if it's not, and they can be harmonized, then you do them both. But, so I don't.
Okay, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm really trying to, if I have the laws, I'm trying to see where this actually falls
Yeah. Which,
in the laws.
okay, well, I can give you a statutory reference if you would like, as far as acreage form of voting.
You're next. Okay.
The gentleman in the red shirt.
Yeah, yeah. I got his attention finally.
It's Article 5, and it starts at 48:30:41, and subsection, 48-3041, subsection B, and deals with the option for to go to an acreage when 50% the total acreage of the district is used for other than agricultural purposes, as determined by the board. It's in Article 5 of Chapter 19 of Title 48. The statute itself is 48-3041.
Okay, we can take you in the red first, and then Eldon, you're next.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are freaking out when they saw we're losing agricultural stats, but functionally, it's just meaning we have a null and void voting system. We have to switch to a voting system, right? That's all it is.
It means that,
On the nuts version, instead of getting all,
Yeah.
the nuts version, we just have to change how we do a vote, right? So then we're
That-
talking
that
about
complies with the
660
statute.
Properties having 660 votes.
What?
Like, there's 660 properties, right, or something like that.
647.
So there were like 666 votes after that. Just changing how we vote. I mean, that's.
It
Boil it down, we're just saying, hey, we're just gonna redefine who gets the vote,
Yeah.
which is homeowners get to vote.
Right.
Right?
Right. I mean, it's the way that you have historically done it, had a qualification that the county says you don't meet anymore. There's an alternative that you do meet. The easy thing to do is to switch over to that system that you meet.
How many properties you own?
Eldon?
No, I was going to say to his point, or he kind of mentioned something city of Phoenix, we don't have agricultural status.
Well, we're zoned R43, which is, or 48, whatever, which is, you know, everything but pigs.
It's not agriculture, it's just residential.
Yeah, again, this has nothing to do with how the city.
They said, no, you're zoned
Hey.
residential.
This has nothing to do with how the city zones you or treats you.
No, I'm just trying to get that out of people's minds. You're not losing any agriculture. You never had agricultural status.
Right.
Yeah, and this has just to do with the irrigation districts and what it requires, you know, to be an eligible voter for district elections. Period. That's it. And we're
Next.
There is a way to remedy the situation, and that's.
One more.
So if the homeowners want to have a recall, they can have it on their own, they don't have to ask the county anything.
Well, I'm not here to discuss recall elections. That's not. I'm here to talk about the letter and voting. I will say that there's a dispute as to whether the county or the local entity should hold recall elections. Most counties say they're supposed to do it. Some allow the local entities to do it. That's
Okay.
There's just a dispute between counties and the law as to which entity is supposed to do it.
Okay. I think we need to move on. So I would like to say thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill.
We appreciate it. Appreciate the answers. And
Thank you all. Have a good night.
thanks very much. Okay. All right. We've got a lot to cover still. So I'd like to go right back to the call to the public. Scott.
My name is Scott Olson. I am a resident here in the Farms and have been for almost a year now. I'm not on titles, I'm not a registered voter, but I am a resident and I pay their irrigation fees. So I'm here to address the board tonight to be put in the minutes and on the agenda for the next meeting as well, if action is not taken. The reason for this request, I'm asking the board to take immediate action and ask for termination or resignation of the irrigation manager, Richard Minton, for the following reasons. Incompetence, dereliction of duty, harassment, threatening, and favoritism. Now, for all these reasons, said manager is incompetent in handling the day-to-day business practices such as scheduling, repairs, office reports, computer knowledge, and handling talking to all residents in a professional manner. Dereliction of duty. Said manager will be caught, has been caught numerous times by many homeowners sleeping in the office during work hours. This has been noted and seen by homeowners. Said manager will leave the district during work for whatever reason, still under working hours, be seen at home doing yard work, in and out of company vehicles, wasting time at other merchants, staring at chickens during company time. There's no reason for an irrigation district, in my knowledge, to ever be at the stock shop looking at chickens during working hours. That's just one instance, while on the clock. This is our money, and I consider it my money as well, since I do pay irrigation bill, even though I'm not a registered voter. This is, well, as everyone else's money. We own this district. We are paying for every employee in this district. That's our money that's being wasted. That is nothing more than stealing from every one of us in this room and everyone that's in this district. I don't know about anyone else, but me personally, if you reach in my pocket and grab $20, there's going to be stuff happening. Harassment. This is an issue in itself. Is more than a reason to terminate this person. It should have been done a long time ago. This has been going on and on. There is an ongoing investigation into office sexual harassment, as well as many other homeowners that have had unwanted comments and advances towards them, mainly being ladies, either to them in person or relayed to employees or other homeowners. This is just repulsive. This person is a predator, and it needs to end now. The other forms of harassment to the homeowners, either directly or indirectly, by turning residents in for any reason, which he obviously denies. This has been addressed many, many times, and you, Kate, as a president, defend this. And it's very sad that we, the residents, have to let this go and just walk away from it. And even though we get turned in, whether we're doing anything wrong, right, or anything else, it's at the homeowner's expense. It's always at the homeowner's expense. If you mouth off, do something to the irrigation manager that he doesn't like, retaliation costs every one of us money out of our pockets. Why are we paying? This harassment is in the employee handbook and states very clearly these actions will not be tolerated, period. Threatening homeowners and residents. I have personally been in this harassment issue. Said manager only to be told that I am always in the wrong. It doesn't make any difference. You're always wrong. And the board is pissed, coming after me. Well, bring it on. That was his exact words. Now, after that, this is my last straw. I have tried to write it up. I have addressed numerous issues in the past, and nothing has been done. This management does not make the rules, nor does he have the right to treat people he works for like this. It's not acceptable. This cannot be accepted by any of us any longer. The threatening, harassing, favoritism, and good old boy system that he relies on does not work for this district, and everyone agrees and knows that. It's time for this board to listen to the homeowners and find a manager that will work with all the homeowners and residents and professionally. This address to the board is not going to be hushed or pushed aside by anyone any longer. If action is not taken immediately, I and other homeowners will be looking towards getting our own attorneys and doing whatever means is necessary to make this happen. Enough is enough. You have spent our money long enough. It's time that we see results. You work for us as well, even though you're not paid and everything else. You are supposed to be looking out for our best interests. In closing, we want to see action immediately. The second part of this, it is addressed to you, Kate. Even though you have gotten the county, and I say you, and I am picking you up distinctly because it was you that started all this recall stuff to the county and started digging in, and it is my firm belief that the county has said their piece, that they want no part of it and everything else, which is exactly what you wanted. Now, the recall was in process and you got to stop. That's exactly what you wanted. I and many others want you out of this board. You have done nothing to help this board since I have been here in the previous year. You have done nothing but cause trouble. You have quit. You caused chaos. And the lying, cheating, and everything else, it needs to stop. And you shake your head and everything else. The lying has been proved, and you just won't admit to it. So please, I'm trying to be professional here. Resign, walk away, let this board elect and put someone in place that will look after our best interests and continue this district on before we have bigger problems. Thank you.
Okay.
Address that. Or you can address any of that, you're allowed.
It'll be in print.
So you can address it if you want. You can finish.
I guess I would say specifics, Scott. You presented a whole bunch of generalities here. You lie, you do this, you do that. If you want to come up with some specifics, I'll be glad to address them.
You tell me where you want the truckload of complaints and all the things, and I'll tell you what we're doing.
You can write them up and give them to me. Thank you. Okay. Walt,
Okay with that? No, I'm not giving anything to you. It will be addressed to the entire board.
Great. All right, Walt, you had something else? Oh, okay. I thought you had something else from earlier.
I have to go on like the fifth beginning.
Well, we actually have to go on with the meeting. So, all right.
Mr. Jones, You're on a steeper list I got.
Okay,
They wouldn't fit in this room.
all right, let's move on to the summary of current events. Do you have anything, Larry?
I think there's other people, Kay, that wanted to talk. Do you have some?
I don't have anything else. We're talking call to the public.
Eldon?
I know that Eldon had something.
Oh, I crossed you off because you said something to the attorney. What else do you have?
I was just going to give you a copy of the letter from the registrar, one of your greatest achievements, for turning me in while I was working for the district that you guys hired me for.
I did not turn you in.
You were behind it, don't deny it. Okay? So
Is that the big lie? Did you not talk with Alex Rodriguez and find out that I did not turn you in?
Okay, tell me you had nothing to do with it.
I had nothing to do with other than obtaining records for public records, as I was
So
requested.
you get them together, give them to somebody to take down there. What's the difference?
I was requested to get those records. I'm not going to argue any further.
40 years, so
I wouldn't even address it anymore.
All right, are there any other call to the public? Now's your chance. Okay, let's move on to, did you have anything for current events?
I have correspondence that came in to me this afternoon, and I'm going to read it.
Okay.
It says, I want to let you know what happened at my property this morning. Richard showed up behind our property at 9:05 and proceeded to tell Scott that they needed a discussion. He informed us our valve adjustments that it was not legal. The valve adjustments were not legal, and we had been in violation for years. When Scott asked when this came about, he said it was that way since before he was manager, but was now going to be enforced per the board. And this occurred on the 29th of March. After very heated discussions, Scott told him that if that's what it is, open up a valve, and we had never been told this before until today. He said that he has discussed with the board and they're coming after us. He said that we better watch it because the board is looking everything up and we have been in violation and something's going to be done about it. Richard has been asked to not come around my property. I am the homeowner and he has never discussed any of this with me, and he's driven by my house twice this AM. I am done with the harassment and I will get an attorney. And I'm not going to read the rest of it, but I have a problem. No one speaks for me, number one. I was never told at 9:05 in the morning that you guys had a problem. I'm not pissed off at anybody. I get upset sometimes, I'll yell at you, but I'm not upset with anybody. And I am not looking into anything to come after you. Now, back in, I think it was 2002, I was a board member back then, and I was president. And we had an issue of, I think it was the 10-inch valves, right, Brenda? Wasn't it the 8-inch valves? To where we came up with a policy that if you had an 8-inch valve, that they had to be opened up, fully opened up. That was the policy, but rest assured, I am not pissed off at you guys. I am not looking into anything. And if I have a problem, you know me well enough that I will speak my mind and I will tell you. But nobody speaks for me but me. Now, I will qualify this at about 2:45 on the 29th. I did go into the office to sign checks. And at that time, Richard did tell me that something had transpired, at your property. And he questioned me about the valves and showed me what I signed off. And yes, there is something in writing about opening up the gates full turn. But I just want you to know that I'm not looking in or investigating anything to go against you guys.
All right,
I'm done.
okay. All right, we're kind of out of sequence here, but we need to do the approval of minutes. And this would be for the regular Board of Directors meeting March 6th and the special Board of Directors March 19.
What happened to the other one? Special board or executive board? What happened to the executive board?
It's not on here. And at this point, I think they're corrected. You can put it on it.
Well, yeah, they were
Yeah.
corrected a while
Okay.
back.
So
Oh,
it's not
can I
on here,
say-
so-
Can I say one more thing? And I apologize because I was in charge of doing the March 6 minutes, and I did not make the 3-day time frames because I haven't retired yet, so I was working 8-10 hours a day and trying to do the minutes in between. So I do apologize for that, and I'll try to do better next time.
Well, I mean, I don't think you're responsible for the minutes.
Well, no, I was because Brenda was out sick.
Okay. All right, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes, March 6th and March 19th?
I make a motion to approve for filing the March 6, 2018 Board of Directors meeting and the March 19th, 2018 meeting.
It's actually to move, not for filing. Filing is the...
Oh, you're right.
Okay.
Right.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Reports, is Kathy, oh, there you still are. Good for you. Okay, Kathy. Yeah, can you come a little closer? I can barely hear you. It's a big room and there's a little echo.
January and February were distributed first, and then try and get rid of them all as soon as I can. And with Brenda being back now, it should be okay.
Right.
Year-to-date February water fees, we're up, we're over budget. Again, more irrigation. And related to that, purchase power was also, it also increased, and irrigation labor related to that. So, pretty much everything else is on budget until we get down to account 417.1, direct labor. That is over budget. I believe that has to do with, again, we're still operating, at that point in time, we're still operating with one extra person on the payroll as opposed to one extra person over what we hit budget. The rest of the items, some of them is just a timing issue. I don't know if anybody has any questions. I do, you know.
Did you, was it, when you said the direct labor, was that for irrigation labor?
Well, irrigation labor was increased, but I think we did more irrigating because water fees were up related to that. But I think that the main area, the direct labor, 417.2 or 417.1 is the where we actually really lower budget, and that I believe is where the extra manpower is spent. We had an extra person on payroll, and they were doing more repairs.
So if we're over on irrigation, can I ask a question? If we're over on irrigation labor, and we break it out correspondingly over 12 months, and we went through our slow season, we're going into our heavier season now, at the end of the year, we're going to be horribly over on irrigation. Right?
Well, we've only got 3 more months.
Yeah,
March, April, May,
We're
2 more, 4.
irrigating almost every day for the next 3 months too. So you know,
Yeah, we're going on 2 weeks.
irrigation
That
labor's
could be,
gonna
I mean, the numbers that I put together here are based on payroll, based on what the staff is actually doing,
Right.
how their hours are being charged out.
Right.
But, you know, you're right, Victor, if we do continue to do more irrigating than we have budgeted, the labor will go up, the water fees will go up, and the purchase power will go up. Those three are, you know, directly tied together. I believe we have cut back 1 employee.
Yeah.
So that, you know, let you know. And I think, well, looking at the balance sheet and the accounts receivable, the aging report, and I don't know, I really haven't had time to talk to Brenda about this, but I'm thinking that part of it could be with her being off as much, the receivables are way up again. And I don't know if it's just a timing on payments coming in, people getting, you know, recorded. But there is a definite increase in receivables. But I know Brenda has been working with the attorney, you know, to collecting as much as we can, or, as rapidly as we can, I should say.
Okay. Any other questions?
Am I reading it right? We're 18,000 over, almost $19,000 over on labor, on direct labor for year to date?
Is any of that going to be capitalized?
Mine, everything has been capitalized. Everything has
Okay,
been-
that's what I thought.
Everything has been moved to capital.
Okay.
Which, you're talking about-
417.1 direct labor.
Right.
So
That's what I've been, that's
we're
what
we're $19,000 over and $6,000 over on irrigation labor. So, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Again, just part of what's having one extra person on staff.
Okay.
We anticipate, because the plan was I do
I thought my
capitalization.
irrigation, they're calling right now. Get my irrigation right now.
Okay.
I gotta run as soon as they call me. I don't want to flood.
Okay. Any questions, board? Do I hear a motion to approve the financials for January and February for filing?
I make a motion to accept for filing the January and February financials.
Second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Okay, reports. Okay, manager's report.
Thank you. The repair crew completed 8 repairs in March, that is including the big one on the southeast corner of 43rd Avenue and Greenway. We kind of touched that one up a little. A driver hit the standpipe and broke it off at the main line. We got it repaired quickly, causing only 1 day delay on water delivery for lines 1 through 4 and 11 through 18. Our insurance company is currently working on recovering the cost of the damage for the district. And thank you, Larry Hudson. Both of us have been calling our insurance agent on this on a regular basis. Thanks to homeowner Ricky Carrillo for driving me to San Chevrolet on Friday afternoon to pick up the irrigation truck. The truck was in for a scheduled maintenance and service. The district met with the city of Phoenix to discuss the new storm drain that they are installing north of Greenway Road on 49th Avenue. The city has agreed to pay for the drain crossing of our irrigation line on 7 and 8. The estimated cost is $12,000 to $15,000 for each crossing that's going clear across the street. Thanks for the city, and they're going to pay for everything. Parts and labor, all I have to do is supply the manpower to connect to our standpipe and go across the street, and then I have to jog 1 acre to get us past the next house and then go back to 45 into the line. So we'll have at least 1 acre done on those lines, 7 and 8. But anyway, a great cost savings from our city. So the district is now on a 2-week irrigation cycle for the next few months. And I'm not sure what a few means, but with the seed, I think it's coming.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it.
All right, and the pump report,
Pump report is there. There was
bad
quite a
copy,
lot of,
2308 on
and there-
43rd, so that's close to optimum.
Yeah, we're kind of hanging in pretty good on 43rd. On 39th, since they replaced it, we did pick up a little. There was a glitch in the computer. If you look on the last page of 39th Avenue,
It's not showing the,
there's the last 2 are blank.
yeah. Prior to that, though, on March 5th, it was 2248. So that's close, I mean, closer than we were.
Yeah,
And might explain why a lot of people have been overflowing into the road.
Yeah, we're running 50 plus gallons a bit of more, which you cut that in half, that's 25, but 43rd was kind of doing the same thing. I do check with our neighbor at 51st, and they're having the same thing. So the assumption is the water table's up probably slightly, but
Okay.
nobody knows.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Brenda, custodian of records?
Public records were fulfilled in $1.75 per
Okay, thank you. Ad hoc committees, billing and collections, we'll talk about that in a little bit, because it's on the agenda. And employee evaluations, Renee?
Nothing.
Nothing, and vehicle longevity, that's on the
It's on
agenda
the
too.
agenda.
Okay. Old business, discuss and possible action on getting quotes for a new irrigation scheduling program. I received a message from, after our last meeting, from Karen Gould, who said she would like to see the RFPs when we get them, because these systems would cost $30,000 or more, and that she would like to be involved in the process of reviewing them and assisting us with them. Having said that, have we even approached anyone to try to get bids?
I've got possibly 2 coming in,
Okay.
so you never know, they might be under 30,000, so I don't know.
Well, can we?
Pardon?
Well, I'm just thinking about this. If we get some that are over 30,000 and some that are under, don't we have to go out to RFP? So I'm not sure we want to do anything until we get an RFP. My other thought is, do we want to do anything on this and expend 30,000 or so when we are over budget in certain areas and we have a system that is working?
You know, I have to say, though, I've got a problem with billing, and I can't get past it. Who do I call?
We can get Rick to help you. What kind of problem?
I just got a window that's come up and says it will not let me proceed further to...
So you can't do the bills? Okay.
Who has the passwords?
Okay.
Who has the passwords? Does anybody have passwords to your computer?
I gave them up.
To who?
I have them.
I don't.
I have
haven't-
not shared them.
Yeah, but you were supposed to share them with us. You made that commitment at one of the board meetings.
Okay, I can give you a copy of
I
that.
just have, yeah.
I'll give you what I've
know
got. I was
Larry
confused
doesn't.
about one that I got from Richard about the way it was written, so I wasn't sure how it worked. But I can give you that. But you've got you've got everything I have.
Yeah, I'm just saying I can't proceed further. with
Okay,
billing.
all right. Let me,
You've been hacked.
What's that, Renee?
I said you've been hacked.
hope not.
I was just joking.
Okay, all right. And so what do we want to do on this, on item A?
I'd say table it until, you think you'll have them in by the next meeting, the quotes? Okay, table it until the next meeting.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? Who's going to write the RFP?
Well, the board will have to. Okay, unless somebody wants to have a committee and have the committee do it, because that's what we did on the engineering thing. But let's table it and let's talk about it next time. Do I hear a motion to table?
I'll make a motion to table item A.
Second.
Till next month. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Discuss and possible action on definition of agriculture. I think we should table this and have maybe a,
Definitely.
We need to have a description of how we're
Right.
we need to formulate that.
Well,
Right.
but it's not on the agenda, but I think, yeah.
Well,
okay.
it is on
I
the
make a-
agenda, but
well,
we're not
that.
prepared to
I
do
make a
anything.
motion to table.
Okay.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Table it.
Right.
Yeah.
Discuss and possible action on pending insurance claim on the 39th Avenue pump failure. I checked with Michael Oliver, and he wrote back and said that he is working on it. He said that the insurance company has not given them an answer on the wear and tear issue, and that he felt that was a good sign, because if they had come just right back and said anything, that they were denying it again. So we're in a holding pattern on that.
Okay.
So let's table that till, do I hear a motion to table?
So moved.
Okay, I don't want to be nitpicky, but you need to either table it to a time certain or indefinitely.
We're, till next month,
Okay.
till next meeting, regular
Yeah,
meeting.
the one
Okay.
before just was tabled.
Okay. I thought they were all 1 month.
What?
The one on item B, the agricultural, that we're tabling it for 1 month?
Well, You can put it back on there, but I think we have to get the other issues settled first and discussed and done
Okay.
and over with, and we might be able to forget the agriculture.
Okay.
I think, to me, that agriculture is going to take a while, because if you listen to the attorney said there's we have to take a look at it to structure it, to keep what we have, and I don't think that can be done in 1 month or 2 months. We can take care of the voting, but I think we have to be very cautious about how to define agriculture if we are going to do it.
Okay.
That might end up being actually a good committee item rather than.
Yes.
Okay, so for,
Speak up so we can hear you.
okay,
You
so,
want me to yell? Is that better? Okay.
okay,
I'm sorry.
so we have a motion,
I'll yell.
we have a motion to table, and let's amend it to next month.
Yes.
All in favor?
Wait, aye.
Or second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
This lady had a question.
Who had a question? Oh, I'm sorry.
When I did laws and rules with Game and Fish, we had a standard 12 points that we had to look at that would affect all the different laws. Do you have a standard for that, of how to go through to make sure that this definition isn't going to end up creating an issue because we've misworded something?
That's what we have to
That's what we have to
discuss and
develop.
talk to the
So
So you don't have...
we don't have a standard. We have about 5 or 6 ARSs that define agricultural, and so we're going to probably have to draw from each of them.
But nothing on the county side, just for the state?
Oh, on the county side, it's like 20 acres or more, probably.
No.
So, for agricultural, so,
No, what I mean is how you write that new definition.
How you write it
That's what
up,
I'm talking
right.
about, the structure.
Yes.
no, and,
We're under statute, county, you know,
right.
county, statute trumps anything the county says. So
Okay, okay.
We're under
So-
statute.
Okay.
Why would you pursue agriculture? It sounds like we're not going to go that way.
We, we're hoping and that if we settle the issue, if we can come up and settle the issue on the voting for acres, that hopefully we can get out of their heads. They might forget about us, but to me, they're still saying that we should look at something about defining agriculture. But again, that's why I say it's going to take more than a month or 2 months, because we have to make sure we maintain what we have. Don't want to lose what we have. So you've got to be very, very careful. And it does go to wording. You have to watch how you word something, but we'll get advice along the way to do that.
Remember what he said?
Yeah.
You know, you've got big, huge agricultural places.
yes.
That come out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
But if it's an internal, what the attorney is recommending or suggesting is that we have an internal definition for us. And then if we have to go to the county, we at least have that defined. And we've already said if we vote on the acreage voting, that we're at least going to them with a plan. We're not saying, what do we do? So, okay. The next item, discuss and possible action on complaint from Lot 17 with regards to equitable water. We were given a packet for 3 years of, I tried to look at this, and I don't know how they are coming up with.
Let me tell you.
Okay.
I looked at it. I went through 2015, 2016, 2017. I calculated that the hours, and if you look on some of these, the irrigators do write down and the lot number, and like this in 30 after time is up, closed valves on lot 17. But anyway, I totaled up the hours, and for the 3-year time frame, I came up with 270 hours.
Hours?
Minutes, I'm sorry. That equates to 4.50 hours of I'm going to say runoff, dump, whatever, where they didn't get full power. I am going to make a motion that we credit lot 17 for 5 hours of full pump time.
I think there's more information that we need to gather.
Well, you know what? Yeah, we've been dealing with this for a long, long time. They've been very patient, they've been upset, and the last meeting, what I heard was, oh, well, I'm going to give this to Brett to do. All you have to do is look at the records, read what they do, the irrigators put it down, and, 4 hours, giving them credit for 5 hours, I think we need to do it, get done with it, and move on. We need to move on. We have much bigger things we have to do.
Question?
Yeah, but I think that's more than just an isolated incident, because you guys got a lot of people at the end of each one of those lines. And like I told you guys before this meeting when this has come up, is I've taken surveying equipment to my property to others. When somebody takes 3 hours to irrigate just a little over an acre of grass, and I can do the same amount of area, and we get similar reports, and then you find out they're on the end of a line and they're paying, 1.5, 2 times more to irrigate the same amount of property. You got to put it in perspective. If you're paying for 3 hours, you want 3 hours of pressure, or
you want 3
guys
hours
come
of
up
full
with a
pump
formula
time.
that says you're going to pay for 2.5 hours at full price, and then you're going to get the other half hour since it's runoff, no pressure. We can't really calculate that. You got to do something right for everybody. I mean, granted, you can't. 90% of the people in here are getting full pressure for the whole time, and then you've got the other 10%, I don't know if that's the exact number, it's just a number thrown out, that are only getting 3/4 of their time, or 2/3 of their time as full pressure.
We're the same way because we're the first ones, and it's all pressurized, and it dribbles.
I know, and then it's got to wait, it's got to fill up the line, and then if the irrigators forget to, or close the other port, and it runs down. No, I understand that, and I've seen that, and I've also kind of watched some of these different patterns of irrigating, and it's got to be fair for everybody. We're all paying the same amount. And I think that's something you guys have to get together. We have to figure something out so it's fair for everybody.
I agree. The management of there's a balance because Walt wants to, when he's looking at the counting, he wants to see that we're billing approximately the right amount of hours for the amount of pump time that we're running. So if we're irrigating a property that's farther away and we turn the pump on, we can't start billing them. Okay, you're going to pay for pump time. We've turned the pump on. Well, it's an hour before or 45 minutes before the water gets from 39th Avenue to 51st Avenue. So we've either got to eat the cost as a district of the lines charging, or we've got to figure out a way to work it out with homeowners to, when we turn the pump off and the water's going to run for a while, that they get enough water in that time. We figure we're going to have to look at each case, and it's easy. It would be easy to figure that because we can water out of sequence one time. We don't have to water the last house last. We could water it in the middle, and we could say, okay, it takes an hour of pump time to fill you up to where you're happy, and then when we go to then when we look at the runoff water, we can calculate, okay, we're going to turn it off this time at 45 minutes, and we're going to bill you for an hour, and let's see if it fills it up like it did with the pump time. I don't think people would complain if they were getting the right amount of water for if they're getting runoff, as long as they got the same amount as they were getting full pump time. So to me, it's a management. It's a management thing. When someone complains about their property not getting the amount of water on it, we need to have a mechanism in place that this is how we're going to test it, and this is how we're going to get you back on track, and that way we can bill for pump hours rather than just running the water off someplace and not getting anything for it.
Right now, I also have other properties, some out in the West Valley, I've lived all over the valley, and I've had irrigated properties. Now, one of them that I have right now is out in Vanderbilt Farms in Goodyear, and we don't pay by the hour. They pay by the square foot of what you're going to use. And what it is the people that come on irrigate, if you take 43 minutes because we got very good head pressure on the pump, they get it done quick, and then they go to the next house. So the guy comes out and he looks, they figure out how much square footage of grass, if you got 6 inches of water, 8 inches up to your curbs, or however your berms are set up, and they time it and they go, look, we're going to charge X amount of dollars, and that's how we get billed, per the square foot or cubic foot of water that we will be using. So if the pump's running good and we got plenty of pressure, or we got runoff coming from wherever, You may be able to get it done quicker, and it would also cut the cost of time that you guys are going to have in labor. And then it doesn't matter at the end if you guys want to shut the pump off and leave somebody standing there for 3 hours. You won't want to pay the labor for somebody standing there, so you will probably then leave the pump running full time to get your labor costs down. But there's different ways of billing this, and some people, like you said, we can figure out how much. It would be hard to figure out how much area they're actually trying to irrigate.
Walt?
Because I could take an hour today and an hour next month, and it may not take. I may not get the same amount of water depending on the water conditions and the pump conditions.
That's why they bill for pump time rather than, because in order,
Bill pump time.
No.
Let me correct you on that.
well.
I have to know the irrigation system and the programs, because I worked on them.
Okay.
First of all, this same issue came up back in 1997, and we paid Dwight Purdy $1,500 to be able to redo the system, so we went to the end of the line and backfilled. So we didn't have this problem, because we had it back then. Then we have found out that we had dump water that we had to get rid of, and we did not bill for it. And we run that for years. So when I was doing the water resource report for the state of Arizona, we would take the hours that were billed, okay, which were the hours scheduled. And that's the way our billing system works. It does not work on the actual hours. Right? Okay? I have to know that because I know about these programs. I worked on them. Okay? And the billing system, if you schedule an hour, you get billed for an hour. If you schedule 2 hours, you get billed for 2 hours. Even though if you only get an hour, you still get billed for the 2 hours. That's the way the system works. Now, with regard to dump water,
You're
we never
talking,
charge for
that's
dump
two
water.
different things, though. You're talking scheduled hours compared to water delivered.
Right. And delivered is something else. That's what I'm getting to here now. Okay. Except you changed thought here now. But at the time we redid the programs, we were doing dump water. A lot of dump water. I can go back to the records and tell you how much dump water we're doing. The board never did do anything about that after that. We just reversed the schedule, so on and so forth. Now, when Richard took over, within the last year or 2 years, or whatever it was, Richard decided he's going to start billing people for dump water. That's the real issue. Now, the board did not make that decision. Richard made that decision. That's a board decision that should have been made. Where's that?
Okay. Did you?
Because we're the first line, and they come by, they open my valves, and the valves are open, and then the water starts to flow like an hour or 2 hours later. And I complained to Richard about it. He goes, no, we charge your system, and you get your full water. And I can guarantee you I don't get full water, and we're irrigating your acre and a half. And sometimes it doesn't even make it to the street, and sometimes I got lots of water.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I have a problem with, is the inconsistency.
No.
Because they'll open the valves and I wait for my phone to ring. I'm just like Victor there, you know. And when I'm home, I go and I watch, and then multiple times he shut down the valve after 45 minutes. I go, dude, I got an hour and 15 minutes because Mom running late. Well, I don't care. I'll put up the valve back now. I don't want to do this.
Plus, don't we also irrigate? Don't we have like 2 lines being run off one pump on some of them? And some of them 1 line, 1 pump.
We try to schedule it so that they end up about the same time. Because otherwise, if you got one line that's an hour after, 2 hours after the other one, you got to shut one off. Then you've got full water going to the one line. So we've got to try to balance it.
But that's where, yeah, but some of that, you guys, we discussed that too with your guys' VFDs and to adjust the pump. You guys can adjust, that can be done controlling the pump and the flow to control that. You guys could actually run your pump down the last half hour and still have water going down.
That was your theory when we put the thing in. But
The scheduling system was set up so that it would balance the lines.
There's not enough VFD on 43rd Avenue pump, only 39 gallons.
So it's going straight across the line. So you're running full power straight across the line.
But that VFD is supposed to come out. We're supposed to get some kind of soft
That's
start.
just starting. That's actually just so you're not running. You're not going from 0 to 60. You're going 0, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. As opposed to just slamming it on, peeling the tires out. That's the wear and tear. That's what the VFD actually. But the VFD is actually a programming device to actually allow you the ability to run from 100% to 90%, 80%, 70%, probably down, depending on the winding of the motor, probably down into the low 60s. You probably can't get much lower than that because then you lose great efficiency in the motor. The soft start is, like I said, that's just a clutch. That's all it is. So it's not, you're not just slamming it into gear and go. But I tell you the thing that I just think there's some things here, and like you said with the runoff, if you guys have only, if they can calculate the cubic foot that you guys have in each line, if you're working from the highest point to the lowest point, then your guys' runoff should be fairly minimal. I don't know how it's set up, but it just sounds like whatever you guys are charging from one, you can almost charge the other with the runoff and keep going, and then the person that's on the end, by geology, that's going to probably rather suck, but if we have to get rid of the water instead of throwing it away, they may end up getting 4 hours of runoff at very low pressure, but it may still be the same amount of water of giving them that 1 hour. But that is something that has to be mathematically figured out in cubic foot to make sure that it's worked and that it's feasible for all the residents.
Peggy.
Just a real quick comment about what Walt said. Walt was saying that Richard started the dump water sale. That's not true. Chuck Gilman was selling.
You would sell water if the person won.
If he would find.
Well, that's what we're doing.
Find somebody to do
And
it.
Linda,
But you just didn't automatically bill
Yeah, but you can't run water uphill.
No, but the people would pay, they find somebody who wanted to buy the dump water and they would get that. So it does go back.
I agree with you there.
Past, okay.
I agree.
Scott.
But we still had dump water, but we didn't have dump water for every single line.
No.
We did not have dump water for every single line.
Okay.
We still don't have water, dump water for every line.
Is not
Where do you guys dump your water?
pump, and it's not the pressure.
Where's your dump water going?
It's at the end of the line, that's the dump.
I know it's a dead end line.
It goes to some property on that line.
Dumping it into runoff. So that's what I'm saying. So you got a closed system here. Your water's not going. It's not like a fuel line that's coming from here, and then if it doesn't get put into tanks in Tucson, it goes to Phoenix, and so on and so on. So this is a closed system. It stays here. So it's not really being dumped. It's just not being used. So like I said, if based on the way this stuff flows, you guys should be able to work something out that none of the water is really being wasted. That's accounted for and paid for.
That's what we're
pretty
trying
much
to
what we're
do.
doing.
I understand, but it seems like.
Hang on, because Scott's first.
Okay.
Scott's next. Okay, Scott.
Renee, I appreciate your time and everything, but bottom line is that Kelly's invested the time and the effort to do all the documentation. We have been going on now since last August, and we're talking April. This is months, and she only did 3 years of history because that's all the district kept was 3 years. She's lived there for 20 years. Richard's been here for 10, 12, I don't know. The entire time, this has to have been going on, and she's not the only one. We just brought it to your attention. She has been paying for 1 hour of pump time religiously every single time. Pump time, not runoff. She has numerous emails and everything else to back it up that she did not want runoff. But she still got the runoff, whether she asked for it or not, because the pump would be shut down a half an hour early. That is nowhere near the same. And you cannot get through to this person because he doesn't have the mathematical skills to figure out the difference between pump time volume and runoff volume. There is a huge difference.
Okay, Victor.
Is there anybody that is happy with their runoff or dump or whatever, tailwater? I mean, I don't know. Is there anybody that is?
Yeah, there are a few.
And they get. I mean, what are we doing with them? And they're happy that other people are not happy with. I know Cortland Rouse used to. I talked to him a lot, and he was at the end of the line, and he got the dump water, and he just hated it. He was going to bring a lawsuit against the district.
He didn't like it at all.
And you've changed him now, and he's not on the end of the.
No, he's on
He's
pump
not
time
getting
now.
tailwater.
Somebody else is.
No, he is still on the end of the line.
Well, I just talked to him two
But he's not on tailwater.
The whole problem
We're giving it to somebody else.
Okay, well, he's still on the end of the line, but he's getting pump water, not tailwater.
Right, right.
Whatever you
We
want to call
shortened that time up for him, and he's changed his construction of his pool. He's taken almost half the water he used to.
Well, he told me he's getting pump water now. That's what he told me. So
Yeah, we're not giving him tailwater, are
is
we?
saying
No,
the absolute truth.
He gets about 5 minutes of tailwater.
Still?
Yeah.
I thought he didn't want it.
He doesn't know about it more than likely.
All right.
And obviously, because he's getting enough water, he's not complaining about it. And that's my point. That's the point. That's the whole point.
I think a lot of you guys, if you guys all paid an hour and they got your property irrigated in 45 minutes, I don't think you guys would really care. And I don't think I would probably care too much either, knowing that I got my water every time.
There's other people though that's on the end of the line that take up to 3 hours.
Yes.
And they only do 2. And they're mad. They won't come forward, but they're mad.
And there's plenty of people that are mad about
Well, you need to let Richard know who they are, Brenda. What?
No.
That's like saying you
See,
can't
that,
complain
see,
against
there
it.
needs to be a little communications here.
Well, yeah,
If
you're
he
saying,
can,
what you're trying to say is that people aren't complaining. People are complaining, but nothing happens.
Like tonight, we heard a complaint, and then you just go, okay, let's move on.
no, I didn't say that.
When we were in call to the public, we are not allowed to respond to that stuff. That's,
Nothing ever happens.
what,
That's what's so frustrating.
Nothing?
No. How many
Well-
complaints do you need to get from us? I mean, geez, it's so frustrating. It's so
I'll have
frustrating.
one last thing before I leave.
What happened?
And that was that we used to have a manager's complaint report, which was again discontinued when this guy took over. And we have no record of what complaints are turned in anymore at all. Were you here? You were here well, no, you weren't here when Chuck was here.
Well, I've been trying to get people to give me something in writing, and they're starting to, but.
And the manager did not even give us that report. Same way with the pump report. And you talked about the pump report there. I got a copy of that report. Okay? And I think I wrote somebody about it. And I have a question onto it. We paid for a 5-stage or 7-stage bowl on the 39th Avenue pump, which was supposed to, according to the specifications that I got, pump 2,500 gallons of water per minute. And what do you show on there? 2,400. That's what this guy's measurement is. This guy doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground. Excuse me.
They're in our church, please.
Yeah, we are in a church.
Yes, I'll get out of the church.
Okay. All right.
You better get out of it also.
I agree. Why don't we turn the water on and run it at full pump?
You guys, we're way off topic. You're talking about how to solve the tailwater problem, and we have an issue on the agenda.
There's
The
a
issue is
motion
the
on the
tailwater, isn't
table.
No, the issue is.
actually, the item we're on is the complaint from lot 17 regarding
Right.
tail.
And suddenly it became the neighborhood.
Renee has figured the gallon. Renee has figured. Just a minute.
Motion's on the table.
Renee has figured that I would before you. I must see if maybe you'll amend it a little bit. I think we should. He has obviously been complaining, and because they haven't been getting enough water. So he's definitely probably entitled to some refunds, but some adjustment. But when you just look at the hours, if you just take the pump time versus the scheduled time, he was getting the runoff water, so he was getting some of that water. So I don't know that I would credit the whole exact minutes that we're doing, and I think.
Well, you came up with more minutes than they did. They
Yeah,
came up with 240 or something.
No, it was 400.
Yeah, 400 and some.
420
So.
on total. And that's way off.
There's
I'm sorry.
a term, a legal term, it's called unjust enrichment. You can't get something, you can't ask for something, get something, and then say that you didn't get it. So there's truth to that. But this goes back to the problem, you got one person here. But you're going to set a precedence here by saying, yes, we're going to allow this. You're going to open the door here, because there's a lot of people that can be compensated. But here's the other problem. This goes back to the homeowner's money, because somebody's going to pay for this.
And Brenda, you wrote.
And we should pay for it. And that's, I'm not saying that we're not, but I'm saying this is going to open up a cost and a line item in those.
Well, I haven't been on the board as long, so it makes it hard. But realistically, I've said to somebody, we should have a time period for that you can register a complaint. We shouldn't have people having to go back 3 years. We should have a policy that everybody knows that if I'm having problems with my water or my billing or whatever, I need to get it made right within 3 months or something, and not 3 years. We shouldn't be going back 3 years.
Now I'm going to play the devil's advocate. How long do we hold you guys accountable to correct that problem? If we have 3 months, how long do you have to fix it?
The reason this was not fixed, they indicated last month that there had been a vote go ahead, to adjust it in the October meeting. And we pulled the minutes on that, and it said no action taken. There was no agreement to adjust that at all. We discussed it, but there was no agreement, and you can look at the minutes.
Well,
And I sent them to
previous
you.
board member that resigned met with the manager, myself, and Kelly, and it was all discussed, and it was all done then, and Brett made the motion during the meeting, and it was passed.
Well, it isn't in the minutes. I don't know how to.
That's surprising. That's always been a...
Brenda writes the minutes. She would not put something false in there.
Aren't they recorded?
No, yes,
Yeah, we could,
yes.
And they're not redacted?
No, they're not redacted. No, we can't redact public minutes. They're on the website. Look at the October minutes. It's right there.
And you're going to say that every minute that's on the website is verbatim of what's explicit?
It's not verbatim, but it was approved as, I mean, certainly if we made a motion and approved it, that would be in there, right, Brenda? That would be correctly recorded. I know you think I lie about everything, but I'm not telling you a lie. Anthony?
Can we just move to proceed with the motion and, proceed with reimbursing lot 17 and then create some policy about how far we can go for reimbursement if we have issues with...
Well, I think what we need to do is get the manager out in the field. If like this gentleman over here, he's having a problem with his irrigation, it's not coming up. Richard needs to be going around, because if the irrigators are saying, well, I don't have time for you, I got to go shut somebody else off, or I'm going to shut you off, that situation needs to be addressed right then and there. I think we have to better manage the irrigators, and to do that, you have to stay on them too.
I would like to point out that when there are several changes, like 3 or 4 changes that are within 5 minutes, he is requested to, even in the nighttime, to go out and assist the irrigators. So,
That's the manager's job. That's basically...
of course it is. And he works 24/7 or 24/4, 4.5, when it's...
That's not correct. He may get a phone call every now and then. You're not going to see Richard out at midnight when an irrigator has a problem.
I'll call you every time I go out.
Bring it on, Lil.
Okay. All right. So, what do we want to make? Let's make a deal here, or what are we talking about?
so, there is a difference in, they had 400 minutes and she has 200 and some minutes, so.
They originally
I'm happy with
was
what
240.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I want it done. And to further on the whole conversation before the vote, get a new manager, we won't have half these problems.
All right.
You want to
motion-
repeat your motion, or?
My motion was to pay, or credit lot 17 with 5 hours of full function.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Brenda, can you take care of that? Okay.
This is addressed to Brenda. Could you make an actual complaint form so there's format and structure? You do. And can you make it available to us so that we have it? Yeah, on the website, yeah. Yeah, that way you don't get random
Right.
crap. You just get
Right.
consistent.
Okay, moving on. We're way behind, guys. Discuss and possible action to change the monthly statement mailing to use bulk rate mailing, and to initiate emailing of statements through QuickBooks to homeowners who request to receive their statements via email, with the process to start. It was to be April. It was a typo. 2016. It should have been the 2008 April
Okay.
2018 mailing. I have further information.
At the last meeting, you assured me that you were going to get the bulk mill number for this. And I've ran the figures again, and what we're doing is it's costing us about $370 to do a mailing if you multiply the postage. Just paying the $65 a month that we have to pay them to handle the mailing, that's $780. And even though, not a lot of money. Why are we going to spend more money, double the money, just in the mailing? And that's not counting the bulk mail that they charge you per piece that you mail.
I'm not sure how you're doing your figures, but we have to pay for envelopes.
Well, my figures came from the last report that you gave me.
Okay, and
Of what they were
I
charging.
checked with Bill. He gave me you had the bulk mail number because you told me the name of the business.
I told you the name of the business. I called our bulk technicians that are at the GMF, and they ran the name. They could not find the name of the printer that Ambient that had a bulk mail permit. Now, if they're mailing under another bulk mail permit, then so be it. I need the number.
257.
Okay.
Are we getting into conflict of interest with homeowners?
Homeowners can't do business with the district?
I don't know.
What's the
Eldon did.
What's the permit
He was
number?
on the board. That's
What's
a
the
difference.
permit number?
257.
257.
And the reason for the rate difference was because I had gotten the 28.4 cents per envelope from back in September, and in February 6th, I believe, it changed to 28.7. So that may have been the difference in rate.
And again, in talking with our people, the bulk mail technicians that handles the state of Arizona in issuing this stuff, we have to mail first class. That is a higher percentage on the letters. And I still have a problem just mailing it outright with 50 cents. It's $320. I think I based it on $650. I put a little higher. And the $65 that they're going to charge a month, which was on that original form you gave me, they're charging $65 a month just to handle the mail. That adds up to $780 in a year's time frame.
But we're reducing the mail by 50%.
No, you still have to pay for that. You add that on to the $780 that you're spending because they're charging you a handling fee.
I'm doing this.
$65 is 10 cents per mailing. If there's 650 and $65, that's 10 cents per mailing.
Well, I understand that, but that's not that. They're charging $65 just to handle it. They are then putting 2.87, which is a standard bulk rate. We cannot mail standard bulk rate, because I tell you, if I get one that's standard bulk mail, I'm taking it straight down to the GMF. They have to pay a higher bulk mail rate for first class. It is separate. It is separate. Okay?
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. The numbers that we were given,
I know we're arguing a drop in the bucket, but I think the bleeding's got to stop somewhere.
I will check back with him and make sure that if it is first class or not.
Can I make a statement here? If we just choose to email our invoice right out of QuickBooks, the cost is 0 cents.
And you know what? Then what else we need to do? And
so that's what I would like to do, because that wouldn't.
Well, you know what?
Conflict of giving.
You can mail it out as long as we get Brenda training on the QuickBooks and how to do it.
Very simple.
You know, I don't have a problem if she can do it, but it's like anything else. They need the training. They need the training to do it.
There's people that can train to do that in 10 minutes.
I know.
And
Okay.
then you don't have the envelope, you don't have the stamp, you don't have the manpower to do all that, or the printing costs you anything.
Yeah,
You send it,
right.
you send it, you didn't receive it.
Right.
Well, there's a paper. Well,
And when you open it, that's your.
Yeah, but
that's
and if you
true.
want
That
to
is a
print it at
good
your house,
point.
print it at your house.
okay. I move that we table this until next
Can we
month.
just we can't do the we can't do the
Not yet.
the emailing?
Not if she doesn't know how to do it.
Well, there's QuickBooks instructors all over the valley. You get a QuickBooks instructor to come over for an hour and teach her how to do it. It would take her 10 minutes to learn how to do it.
First, they got to correct the problem with the computer.
That'll get fixed. Okay, I move that we table this until next month.
She seconded.
Oh, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Nope, I'll abstain.
Abstain, okay. Discuss and possible action to ratify vacation days for office manager. Last month, we had called Brenda, and I believe you did the the 2 days were the 22nd and 23rd of February.
I've got a paper here for you guys. It was on Tuesday, January 30th, and Monday, February 12th. For the
So
days that I thought.
Tuesday, January 30th?
And Monday, February 12th. I think Richard had those in his book.
Okay, well, we needed the correction from you. So, so do I hear a motion to ratify, instead of February 22nd and 23rd, to ratify January 30th and February 12th?
I make a motion to ratify January 30th and February 12th as vacation days for the office manager.
Okay, but we need to include there that the 22nd and 23rd are no longer ratified.
Yeah.
Okay,
You have to
Amended?
rescind that, yeah.
okay.
Rescind it, yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Did you say aye?
Aye.
Okay, all right, motion carries. Discuss, okay, we're done with new business A. Discuss and possible action on the new retention agreement for Michelle Swan and a possible retainer. The special counsel has changed firms. And so I guess what we need to do is decide if we're going to still retain her, and then we'll need to sign the retention document, which I've got here in a minute.
As far as I understand, isn't her fees stay the same?
The fee remains the same. I sent it to you guys. And here it is. So my take would be, since she's involved and knows the situation, that we would continue to retain her. And so all we need to do is determine it would be a $5,000 deposit. Again, and we'll talk about the other one in a minute. So do I hear a motion to to sign the retention agreement and pay the $5,000 deposit?
Hey, do you know where we are on the budget on that?
We have no choice.
Well, you're gonna have to amend the budget then, because you're not gonna have the money in that account. You're just not gonna have the money. You have to take
Right.
it out of another account. And
We
we're over
cannot
so
do
many-
that tonight. What we have to do, it's not on the agenda to do that tonight.
You're gonna have an unfunded motion then, because you're so over on the legal budget right now.
The legislature does it all the time.
Yep.
Okay, what's your question?
My question is, does her hourly fee stay the same with this new?
Yes.
It does.
It does. Okay.
Right.
We'll get it next.
Right. She just switched firms.
Okay.
So do I hear a motion?
I make a motion to sign the retention agreement with Michelle Swan for the new,
And pay the advance
pay
deposit?
the advance deposit.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I'll sign this before I leave tonight. Okay, motion carries. Discuss and possible action to ratify the payment to Schneider and Onifree in the amount of $3,080.47.
And that's for the work that she's already done, right?
Correct.
So we'll get a refund of,
No.
No, there's still some more.
This is what we have paid, so we're ratifying it. And then the next item will be their deposit, et cetera. So do I hear a motion to ratify the $3,080.47?
I make a motion to ratify the $3,080.47 from Schneider Onfree.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion, was that an aye?
Yes.
Okay, carries. Okay, discuss and possible action on legal fees. The final bill for Schneider and Onifree we have not received yet, but what they will do is take the balance out of the deposit, but we believe it will go beyond that. So we will probably be presented with an additional slight bill. I don't know how much.
Okay.
So I don't think we need to take any action on that. Okay? Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about on legal fees?
No, it's just the fact that we're spending a lot of money on legal fees, and we've got Alan Wilson, we've got Michelle Swan, we have Mr. Sullivan now. We need to try to figure out some way to get past all of this. It's just legal fees are just eating us up.
As a matter of fact, I don't know if I brought it.
One is for a discrimination matter. One, Wilson, is for our collections, and the other one, the new one now, is for the answering the letter for the Maricopa County.
Well, the one for collection should be basically subsidized by the collections, correct?
Once you collect
Pretty
them.
much.
Once you collect, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Right.
And the other one's just a defense?
Yep.
Okay.
Sometimes the expense of not having an attorney can be more than the expense of having one also.
Right.
The-
Okay.
In the back, it's good.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you guys consider hiring an attorney that eats what they kill? So it's no charge for the district, and the fees are added onto the collection that the attorney gets?
The collection side of it is like that.
But you're saying that you have an outlay of cash that you're paying for.
Well, he's pretty good about, Wilson is pretty good about not charging us until he gets it collected. But he's still,
Why would he charge you then? Why doesn't he just take it out when he collects?
well, because the funds usually come to us, not to him sometimes. Not always, but
I think she's saying is basically getting the attorney to work on contingency.
I think, doesn't Wilson pretty much do that? Yeah. The collection attorney does do that.
His fees are forwarded to the lien holder.
They're added
Right.
on to the liens.
It's added on to
Right.
the lien, so we do get the money back on that.
Right.
If we have to lay anything out ahead of time, we do get it back.
There's just a bunch of attorneys who don't put any money out, and they collect the money in their office and then pay the district back.
Wilson
We
is,
don't put out very much
we don't
on
usually put out.
Wilson.
There's some filing fees and stuff that he's not really allowed to pay.
Maybe it's like a $40, going to court fee or something like that. But it's not a huge thing.
The other attorney that you guys have, she's just transferring law firms so that the new law firm wants a new retainer, not, but she's already been billing, working on retainer, just now they want to up retainer because it's a new firm.
Right.
She doesn't want to
Well,
carry-
no, it's the same.
They want the
it's
same retainer as
amount.
the old one had.
Right. So the retainer from the old one will almost cover the final bill at the old firm, and then we have to do a new, they're not calling it a retainer, they're calling it a deposit.
Advance
And it's
payment.
put in a fund, it's in a trust.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So the $5,000 we gave, the legal bills are going to exceed $5,000 already?
Right.
Wow, so, because we're $27,000 over budget right now, plus $5,000, plus whatever bill Sullivan's going to charge us. We're probably going to be close to $35,000 over budget. That's a lot. I've never seen it like that. I've never seen it like that, ever.
Okay. All right.
There's really no more action we can do
Yeah.
on legal fees.
All right, the next item,
I would say, though, on legal fees, I would like to see us start getting monthly statements from all of our attorneys rather than getting I know in the past by Wilson, we have been surprised before with, we put something to him and you don't hear anything from him, and then 6 months later, we get a bill for $5,000 or something. And I would like to see monthly statements from all of our attorneys, and I think that should be a prerequisite of us hiring them, is that we get, so far, Michelle has been good about billing us, but
Yeah.
I would
and I
like,
did just receive one from Bill.
How much was that?
Is it, hang on, okay, I just got it. 3263, and this is for, we had voted to have, listen,
It's going, I know, I know.
okay, we had to have him go over, this
We're
is
not done
partly,
with the fiscal year yet.
It's partly for water, there's nothing on water, general matters. And basically it was to cover the employee handbook, because we went through to make sure it was okay.
I thought he was only supposed to look at the drug, not the whole darn handbook.
No, he was to look at the whole thing to make sure it
No,
was...
no, you told, no,
To
no, no.
fraud, you said?
You told me that he was there just looking to make sure that the, what was it, the sick leave that came into, was it the sick
No,
leave?
it was to
Yeah,
make sure-
oh, no, I'll go back and read the minutes, because that was not what he had it for. Because I kept asking, and I was told, and I asked the question several times, I was told that he was only there to review, to make sure we complied with the leave policies, not
That
to
was-
do the whole thing.
That was never my understanding.
Well, I think we, going along with the legal fees, I'm just going to say this. You don't have free access to call them and say, hey, check into this or check into that. There's got to be some control here, because we are running amok here. And these things are going to kill us. But, I understand some importance, but no. He was just supposed to look at one section of that handbook, not the whole thing. I thought something was up when it took him 2 months to get that darn thing back.
He didn't look at it until right before he gave it back. But because he had litigation, and
That
I
was
asked...
$3,200 just to look at the darn thing?
No, this also includes what he has helped us with the accounting.
Well, wait a minute. I'm confused, because he said he hasn't taught. What has he done with the county? So he charged you for sitting and talking to you and reading the letter. Oh Lord. Okay, never mind it. Never mind it.
All right, we're on to discuss and possible action to accept payment proposal from Lot 149, line 7. And this is the letter from Wilson. He is proposing on a total of $21,959 at this point. That's what the judgment is. That's the principal amount plus attorney's fees and costs, plus accruing interest. In addition, he owes $90.70 per month for current charges, so it's still escalating. He is proposing that they've offered to pay $500 per month toward the existing judgment, and in addition, he would pay the new monthly assessments of $90.70 each month on a current basis. Thus, he will be paying $590.70 per month, with $500 applied to the existing judgment and $90.70 applied to his current charges. It's being presented to us to see if we want to accept it. And this is for...
So it'd be for 42 months, right? Basically. That's an awful long time for...
Can I just say something?
Sure.
What you allow, you encourage.
We normally don't accept these, do we, Brenda?
Another problem that I have with it a little bit is whenever you agree to payments, if he stops making the payment, it becomes a civil matter. We could lose our rights to just put a lien on the house and so.
Well, not
Well, we've
necessarily.
got the
You guys
lien.
are part of your contractual agreement is accept the lien on the property to the payments paid in full, then your lien rights are already established. Therefore, if he stops making payments, you've already got the lien in place.
We do.
That's just a simple agenda. It's an agreement to payment, an IOU. There's no reason why you couldn't do that. And you could pay for the filing fee for the, that way you should get your money now and not getting anything. You're going to be, how else are you going to collect the money?
Sell the house.
Till he sells,
Right.
correct.
Well, no, not till he sells. We can force. I mean,
That's a slippery slope.
yeah.
Right.
All you have to do is make one mistake, and all you have to do is find an attorney willing to take your pro bono to find out that you made one mistake.
Well,
I'm just saying, it's going to happen, and it can happen. Or you guys can get some kind of arrangement, but put the lien on record and on file so you don't lose your lien rights.
What did Alan Wilson suggest?
Oh, he doesn't really make a recommendation. He's just presenting this to us, presenting it as, this is what the customer would like to do.
And there's interest accruing as the payments are being paid?
Yeah.
But then you also have a clause in there that if the property sold or anything, you actually in the first position before to have the loan paid first before any of the other. I mean, granted, if he has a lien against the property, but there's going to be, some kind of equitable arrangement.
Well, there are the other options, and some of those I think were like we can garnish wages or we can go after some of his personal property. There are other things that the attorney can do, but.
Have you ever considered just to send it to a third-party collector, and that person would make the payment to that third-party collector, and that third-party collector would send the payment to you? It's going to be a
portion.
A lot of times things like that are done. And then, there's whatever cost would be incurred on his end. Usually $7.50 a month and then basically these companies, they make money on the interest. They have the money first. They have it for a couple of days. They send it to you. But then it takes you out of the loop, and then the payments are exactly calculated out down to the whatever day he sends the payment. I finance property that way where they don't pay me. They pay to a third party. That party then it comes to me. That third party comes to me. And if there's any kind of clauses, that company enforces those clauses, penalties or whatever. That company enforces those clauses, and they write the contract as well.
Yeah, and the other thing that you could also have to do is be a financial disclosure that somebody's not asking to make $5,000 payments when they've got a $20,000 in bonds,
Wait, guys.
$5,000 in stocks, or $100,000 stock to win another property they own outright. So, I mean, you'd have to, by accepting that, we'd also want to check into a financial statement.
Another question I have is, seeing how that's a tax, and I know the county is collected on property tax board, can't we just turn that over to the county as a property tax, and they collect it to where they've collected, like we've had assessments before, and the county collects that for us?
I think they have to do it on all of them, don't they?
Yeah, I think that's
It's like one or all.
Before we went to the type of payment system that we have now.
Because that would go into an escrow account. It has to be collected typically through escrow through a billing if you're a part of your mortgage.
But if you don't pay your taxes within a certain amount of time, they sell that. It is a tax. It is a tax.
But the water portion of it is not a tax.
Right.
This is years old. There's almost no water in this. This is all monthly fees.
But I don't think
There is water? No water.
Yeah, see, it's all the monthly tax.
So it's just as monthly dues.
Yeah,
And that is a levy.
it is a levy. So
You can call county and ask them, but
right now we might not want to
They would
call,
have to
but
bill it as a secondary property tax, I would think, before they can collect it. Since they didn't bill it, I don't know how they could collect it. Because we're doing our own, so we're kind of on an island doing our own.
Right.
This account has not been down to zero since I've been working.
yeah, that's why I'm hesitant to take payments. Is he's been behind for 15 years.
Right. What makes us think he's going to be reliable in making his payments now?
I don't think you want to go to the county for
No, I don't think
not
so
right
either.
now.
You're
No,
right.
for sure.
So do we want to decline the offer?
Either that or see if he can figure out a way to shorten it up. Just $21,000 at $500 a month, it takes a long time to collect it.
Right.
But if he wants to pay $1,000 a month or something, maybe shorten
I
it.
don't even want to do that. No.
And if,
I don't think he can afford it. Didn't you read paragraph 2?
well,
They've had some health issues.
$500 a month is what you're going to pay?
$590.70.
$597, the 97 would be the interest accruing.
No, that's the original.
That's his membership fee.
That's the membership fee. So then
He must be a 2-acre?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2 acres.
Okay, so he maintains current, then you pay $500 a month, but there's going to be interest accruing on that as it's going, correct?
Right.
You probably got 48, 54 months.
yeah.
Assuming that it's what?
No.
1.5% of the month and 18% per annum?
Yeah.
I don't think we should do it.
Yeah.
So if we're not going to do anything, we can just say no action taken, right?
Yep.
Well, and then can you let Alan know? Okay.
Don't you have to vote?
I thought it would
I think you
decline
still
it.
would want to vote.
Take
to
a
say-
motion.
No, we have
to
to, we
decline
have to vote to
the
accept
offer.
payment. So we're not voting to accept.
Okay, it says it.
So, okay. Next item, discuss and possible action to approve one vacation day for Brenda, and that would be April 9th. Okay,
So moved.
I
so
second.
moved. Second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. You're welcome. Okay. Discuss and possible action to establish the Employee Handbook Committee. And the reason for this is we have to review all of the corrections that the attorney has recommended. And so I know we had Peggy, and we had you and Larry, which creates a little bit of a problem now. Let's have an open meeting. Are you interested in that? No? I was wondering if,
We could do it as a special meeting and open it up. Then it would be before.
there's a lot of little sticky notes on that thing. It's a little hairy. So, but they are all legal recommendations, which I believe to have a good working document, we needed to do.
I'll do it.
You will?
Yeah.
Okay.
After that's discussed, then does it have to go back to the attorney?
No, he's made his recommendations to us. And so what we need to do is look at them, accept them or not, and then have another motion to approve it. And then make sure that everyone is covered, all the employees are covered on it again. So, which they should be every year anyway. So, okay, so Peggy and Victor, is anyone else, Bob, are you interested in that? No? I know you worked on appraisals before.
Long time ago, got it in a shoebox.
And she's got her evaluation committee, so I don't know if you're interested in that, but, or the budget committee coming up. Anyway, do I hear a motion to reestablish the Employee Handbook Committee with myself, Peggy, and Victor, and you guys are certainly welcome to attend, because we can't have more than one board member on the committee.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, but we're all three together.
We are, but you don't have a
Yeah,
vote
we'll
on the
put a
committee.
notice out.
You don't have a vote on the committee.
Okay.
Okay.
I make a motion to reestablish the handbook committee with the members of
Right.
Victor Armendariz, Peggy Schwen,
And
and just Kay Lorenzen? Yep, okay.
Second.
all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Okay. Discuss and
On that, if someone else would like to be on that committee, we can, have them come
We can
in
add them.
and be an active member and be placed on it too. It's
And
not
we'll just have to vote again
we would
to add
vote,
them.
But others can come in if they want.
Right, and anyone is welcome to attend all those meetings. Okay, discuss and possible action to establish the budget committee, and we need to get going on this because we have to have it by June 30th, approved by June 30th. I spoke with Peggy, and she's willing to be the chairperson. We have to have it completed by May 18th, because, before May 18th, because she's leaving the country for a month. So there's a little pressure there. But Victor, I asked you if you would. Bob, I'd like you to also. So do we need anybody else? Is Walt?
I would like to see Walt put on it. He has the knowledge too from the background.
Okay.
You want to be on it? I don't know your name. I'm sorry. What's your name?
Anthony.
Anthony? Yeah.
You want to? Okay. So we have Anthony Chase.
Thank you.
Bob Bustos, Victor Armendariz, and Peggy Schwend.
And again, when we hold these meetings, it's an open meeting, anybody can come,
Right.
and we do not, we do not say you have no voice, you still have the right to have a voice.
Absolutely. Oh, and Walt.
Yeah, I have
So,
all that.
okay, so I move that we have the people I just named as the budget committee,
So
and with Peggy as the chair. So moved.
moved.
And all in
I
favor,
second.
aye. Motion carries. Okay. Okay, discuss and possible action on the signature for this HOA shed or box. Do we have, Tim is the new president. Can somebody get this? Can you, who's going to, you're on the board. Can you please get this signed?
I could take to them.
I thought there was a problem with this. Richard was saying something about a problem with it being there. We needed the space.
No, that was the note that we had before that you guys had never seen.
Boy, I must be living in a dream world. Okay.
Well, at one point, there was a concern, and that's when the big trucks were in there. And there was no turning lane.
I was in on the 29th, and we sat and we had a conversation.
Right.
And you were telling me that you didn't think that thing should be sitting in there because you needed the property. You're telling me you didn't tell me that?
Yeah, no, that was the letter that I wrote months ago.
So you don't need the space now?
I still need the space, but, you know, the old board let it go, so let it go.
So
I
if we,
can't believe that. I cannot believe. Okay, thank you.
he had expressed a concern to me.
I'm telling you, do me a favor. I was relaying to him what he told me on March 29th.
Okay.
Okay? And if he's saying no, that was the last letter, that's how it was not presented to me.
Okay.
I understand. Fine.
Okay. All right. Hopefully you can get that signed. Okay. Discuss and possible action to establish personnel files per the guidelines presented. Did you guys have a chance to look them over? The reason, no? Nope. Okay, well, let's table this. The reason we need to do this is apparently the personnel files, at least for the managers, are pretty much non-existent. And so my husband was good enough to look up some guidelines that are general in business. And I thought they made sense. And let's table that till next month and have it reconsidered. Discuss and possible action to change our bank, and this would be Compass. The reason this is on the agenda is I was advised by a homeowner in another district that they went into the bank, actually it was their manager of the other district, and they went into the same bank as we have, and there was apparently a discussion of not only our district, but our finances that was held openly with several of their employees and these two, the man and his wife from the other district. And I called the bank and said, and talked with the person that I generally deal with, and he said, oh, that shouldn't have happened. Oh no, I can't believe that happened. But when I talked with the other district, I asked him who was involved in that discussion, and it was the very person who said he was not involved. So and I know that I think both of you mentioned you're not happy with that bank either. So I think we need to look for a new bank. And if either of you have recommendations, I do B of A. I don't know if and that's close, really close. But if there are other suggestions where you have good service and where the terms are correct or right, what we need, I think we need to do some searching and have some recommendations.
I have good service with Wells Fargo, and I have good service with Chase also, yeah.
Okay.
Didn't the one time Chase come over and help us a great deal? Who was that? Compass? Was it Compass? Compass, we have that digital text scanning machine on the desktop.
Well, I bet others offer that. Probably others offer that, don't you think?
Oh, sure,
They
sure,
just have
sure.
special that we got to get free. I don't know if they're based in
Okay.
cars, but I'll check on that.
They actually like you to have that way they don't have to handle the paper.
Right.
So
So
almost any of them will give you that.
And there are some that will actually handle cash, a cash box in the office. The cash is dropped in, and once every, whatever period of time determined, there's actually a truck that comes by and picks it up. So you have to have a minimum amount of cash, but I think we have quite a bit of cash, cash payers. I've
Yeah.
heard that, I don't know what the numbers are, but that could be an option where you don't have to go to the bank to take cash.
Okay, so at this point, shall we table this and have Brenda pursue some suggestions for us? Second? All in
Second.
favor? Aye. Okay. Almost done. Discuss and possible action on vehicle longevity. You're on, Larry.
Yeah, basically, the longevity committee, it's been several months ago, made some recommendations to the board.
Here it is.
Yeah,
You got it?
yeah, I think I have a copy that's a little bigger. We can start, we'll just go over after she said.
Okay.
One of the things that we talked about was bridle path maintenance, about establishing a regular grading program on the bridle path, so when the trucks are going down the bridle path, that the ruts are taken care of in a timely fashion, and that there's also recommended that there was no vegetation growing in the bridle path. We actually the committee drove the bridle paths, and there are places where people have stuff growing in the bridle path to where the truck has to squeeze around them and stuff, and it just makes it hard. And the idea that we were looking at the bridle paths because we're trying to prolong the life of the trucks, and the better the bridle paths are, the less wear and tear it's going to be on the trucks, is what it amounts to.
Okay. And then asphalt milling.
Yeah, we had, then it was discussed whether or not we would want to put asphalt milling in the bridle paths. And if we did that, we figured out something that would have to go to the homeowners. Me personally, I wouldn't want milling in I wouldn't want it in my bridle path,
Oh my gosh.
We considered that back when
Okay.
I was on board because
We'll try to get done in like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Then,
We need to hurry.
Okay, we can table it. And then, personally, I don't want to spend any money on anything we don't absolutely have to.
That's what I was going to say.
Until
So
we get to
the
it.
milling, the dash cameras,
We talked about.
bring a road grader, he said he'll knock down real good.
Yeah, we.
I grade my property, I tell you.
okay, truck walk around, okay, and we'll add, okay, and the GPS would be extra expense. So we table this and narrow down the focus
Sure,
until next
sure.
month? Okay. I move to table until next month. Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. And that's the last, that was on there twice.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't notice that before. Okay. Do we want to worry about future agenda items or just call them into Brenda?
Let's call them into Brenda.
Good idea.
Because these
Okay.
poor guys have been sitting
Yeah,
out there.
I didn't know they were waiting to play ball.
Yeah, well.
Okay, there being no further business, the meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Let's go upstairs. Do we need to put these?
Yeah, we do. There. Well, I need to just, this is a no good deed goes unpunished kind of thing. And honestly, the claims about Richard are so vague and so unfair and
Every claim.
generated by the office.
Well, I made it funny because I made that note in there right out and said, I'm encouraging people that put them in right.
Right.
You're encouraging.
Is this your stuff? I'm gonna put mine right there by yours.
Hostility, huh?
Yeah.
Well, we thought.
Where would you guys like this moved?
I don't know